I can't even believe these exist. Who even started these? And as you watch me draw this day, learn about every single art anxiety and art commission expectation that I commonly hear and that you probably have yourself too, and you really don't have to worry about them. And I know all of these because I used to think this way too. Now this one's a gem. I hear this one all the time, and I've heard it dozens of times from people when I work with them one-on-one in my Art Mentorship, and it goes something like this. Have you ever been concerned? Have you ever been anxious about what if when I open up my commissions, what if I get so much demand? Sean, what if I can't handle it? What if all these people come rushing at me? What if they're beating down the door? I want your commissions, I want your commissions. Have you ever had this concern? This is especially true for people that are just starting. There's a reason why I think this happens. I'll get to that in a second. But I just want to put this to bed here, y'all. That's not going to happen, okay? But just to quell this concern for you, from doing this for over a decade, I can certainly say that is not typical whatsoever. And so just to put this into perspective, it took me 6 months to find my first client. When I work with people, it usually takes them somewhere in the neighborhood of a couple weeks to a few months in order to get their first client too. And that is just usually the way it goes. You have to refine your systems. You have to refine your processes. You have to refine your artwork too. And that is not a bad thing. So listen, if you're a seasoned artist who's been in this freelance game for a little bit, please drop down below some realistic expectations. Tell everybody watching this right now, how long did it take you to get your first client? And then how's that been going for you since? Because just to be honest, you can't have this like ultra grand vision in your mind, because what that does is it just sets you up with a false expectation. It sets you up with a false reality. Now there's two and only two reasons why that would ever happen to you, where you just get this massive storm surge of people that want to commission you. Number one is if you have a massive, and I mean a massive, like 5 to 6 digit social media following, or number two is that you have ridiculously, disrespectfully cheap pricing. And in which case, well, you've got some other concerns that we're going to talk about today. And now the reason why I think that most people have this concern is actually just to create and invent another barrier to actually starting, because it gives them an excuse. It gives them another reason to put it off, another reason not to try so hard. And if that's you, friend, I'm not putting you down. It's okay. I totally understand that, okay? But you can't let that hold you back if you're just wanting to get started. But if you have this expectation, it's not a real one. All right, so for new artists, again, that are just getting into this space and want to start freelancing, this one especially goes out for you. And listen, if you're a seasoned artist, listen, I've got tons of other things I want to talk to you about today. But right now, this might also pertain to you too. So one of the common concerns that I see as well is that, what if I burn out? Sean, how do I prevent myself from burning out? Sean, how do I make sure that I'm not gonna burn out from doing all this work and doing all this stuff outside of this and then doing this at the same time? Sean, what if all these clients come at me and I'm just gonna feel burnt out by all this? And y'all, I just really wanna go ahead and put this into a new perspective for you, okay? Y'all, you don't go to a restaurant, order a steak, and then get stressed out about eating the steak. And then when the steak comes, you don't just start sweating and staring at it, and you just all of a sudden have an anxiety attack, right? So the reason that I bring this up is because that's basically what you're doing in an art commission sense, is that you're getting way too far ahead of yourself and you're thinking about all the work, but just like how you would actually finish a steak, what do? You finish it one piece at a time. So my friend, I just want to let you know this. Here's my overall mantra. Here's my overall mindset I want to impart to you. You have to let yourself burn before you start to worry about burning out. You have to be able to actually start this, get clients, get into the work, and do that, all of that way before you actually worry about burnout. Burnout, just to be honest with you, especially from an art perspective, this tends to be something that we worry about before we're even way into that. And again, it just becomes an invented barrier for your success. So if you want to avoid this, here's just my general rules and my general expectations for myself and for other people that I've worked with. So number one, just make sure that you're doing a niche that you actually like. Make sure you're doing artwork that you like. Make sure you're getting pricing that you like, and we'll talk about that too. Make sure that you're actually investing your time into things that will get you more clients and not just boom, a client right now. But if you're concerned about, oh my God, how am I gonna do all this? How am I gonna balance all this? Don't worry about that, because guess what? You're not there yet, are you? So why would you worry about the future when you're not even barely stepping forth into the present? See how that works? Does that make you feel better? So this one, I get this question all the time. People usually ask me this when I start working with them. And as you're going to be starting out, or if you're right now already started and you're building that, you're starting to get a little bit more business, you're starting to get more clients, then naturally, one of the things that you're eventually going to come to is, how do I handle multiple people? How do I handle multiple clients? Sean, what if I have to take on too many clients? Oh my God, what if I let them down? Oh my God, what if I can't handle it? And I see this all the time. And then that also wraps itself up into things people do that are really silly, like you won't even take payment until your project is done because you're afraid that you're not gonna be able to complete it? What's that about? That's not real. And we'll talk about that today too. But I see so many artists, they're stressing about handling multiple clients when they barely even consistently have one. And I used to think like this too. I used to think, oh my God, I have one. What's it gonna be like when I have two? What's it gonna be like when I have three? What's it gonna be like when I have four? And just to alleviate a lot of your concerns here we go. Just start off with one. Just build from one. When you're first starting out, you don't need to worry about building this massive art commission empire that you think you're gonna build. You just need to focus on tending to and giving the love and care that you need to for the one that you're currently on. And then when the next one comes along, you can go ahead and you can multiply that success that you just had. And then the next one comes along and you can figure that out. Here are some really great strategies that I use and I highly recommend for you if you are worried about this or if you're just starting to get into this. Number one, go ahead and make sure that you stagger every new client. So for example, if I get 2 clients on the same exact day that commit to me and they put down and they deposit with me, I will never start them at the same time. I will tell the first one that I will go ahead, I'll start soon. The next one, I'll tell them I'm gonna start a week or 2 weeks later, depending on what my schedule is like. And I do that because I don't like to do the same exact thing at the same exact time. And I personally like to have staggered artworks at different phases. So then that way I don't feel like I'm just in the trenches, in the ugly phases of every single one of the things that I'm working on all the time. Now, me personally, I do juggle typically somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 5 clients every single month, but I've also learned and developed strategies on how to do that, which by the way, if you're really interested in how to do this really better, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe button. And if this video is helping you, please push it out and share it with people that you know that it would help them too. And when it comes to you worrying about handling multiple clients, y'all don't worry about it. Y'all just make your artistic pyramid one block at a time and don't stress about how you're gonna get it all done in a day, because it's not going to. All right, so just to annihilate this major rumor, this has been going on for years, and I've been wholly combating this forever now because it doesn't work for anybody. It works for such a small fraction of people. But for you, are you afraid that you're not gonna be able to get clients, you're not gonna be able to get the rates you want, you're not gonna be able to get the business that you want because of the fact that you don't have any following? And my friend, please hear me on this one. This is ludicrous, all right? This is such a poor metric for your success, for your pricing, for your self-esteem, and especially for your artistry, to just look at your analytics on any social media site and think that somehow that relates to what you're able to get, that relates to what you're able to charge or not charge or get or not get, or why you can't ever build a business. It's just foolish. Can it help some people? Sure. Does it work for some people? Sure. But it honestly discourages, I would say, at least 90% of all artists that try it because it's just unpredictable. I even look at it in terms of YouTube, like you can learn to do this better. But I think too, at the same time, the most sustainable model for you to learn about is to not start to associate your social proof with your business potential. That is a dangerous line to cross here, y'all. And just to put this out in perspective, I have less than 1,000 followers on every single social media I have, except for YouTube right here, which by the way, on YouTube, I've only ever gotten 1 commission over the last 4.5 years. So it's really not what I use this platform for. But throughout all those, I don't advertise on social media. I don't have any type of big following. You'll never see me put out a pricing sheet. You'll never even see me advertise for commissions on any of my social medias because I know that is not the best platform to go to. Also, just to put this out there, here's a better way of thinking about this. You need to think about the quality of your customer, okay? Just to go ahead and alert you to this. The people that are looking right now on social media, they're not the best clients for you. They're oftentimes people that don't have any money, people that are broke, and people that are honestly like teenagers, just looking around, looking for short-term gratification. They're not actively looking nor seeking you. If you want better quality customers, what you want to do is you want to go to websites and go to platforms where they are there. They are willing and ready to go ahead and work with you. They're seeking you out. When you have a motivated customer versus you have an unmotivated customer, there's a significant bar that they have to pass through in order to enter into any type of contract with you. And that really is what it comes down to. So my friend, I just want to let you know this. If you're starting out and you're thinking that you need that social proof to start, you don't. The only proof you need is to actually do things that work, because it's not this. Now, if you're starting out or if you're looking to grow here, you're naturally going to think to yourself, what am I going to do to protect myself? And it's a good question. You should have good practices. You should have things that you're doing in order to protect yourself, in order to protect the assets, in order to protect your actual artwork against being misused and abused. You don't want to get scammed, and you don't want somebody to take advantage of you, right? And so this kind of entails itself into, you're going to think to yourself, I need to make myself a contract. I need to have a really great, robust contract. You know what I need to do? I need to have a great terms of service. My TOS, it really needs to be on point. It needs to be attractive. It needs to be glorious. It needs to be perfectly worded. I need to spell out every single little thing that could potentially happen so that it doesn't. My contract needs to be the length of a mini Bible to make sure that I encompass every single situation that could occur. And my friend, I just want to let you know this. People talk a big game about terms of service agreements and contracts. And if you are entering the realm of art commissions, not into commercial work, that's a whole different ballgame. But if you're working just one-on-one with private clients, nobody cares about your terms of service, and certainly nobody cares about your contract. It just doesn't matter. I've seen so many people that tell me that they can't start because they don't have a terms of service, because they don't have a contract. If you don't know how this is done, by the way, I have tutorials for how to actually do this. It's really simple. I have them on my channel. I'll put some links down below for them for you. And if you're going to do this, if you have this concern, let me just put this to bed. Nobody really cares. Like, when's the last time that you ever, for example, got a lamp and actually read the instruction manual? Or like, when's the last time that you got a new video game and you actually read the instructions for how to put the disc into the system? Come on, it doesn't work. Like, people know how this thing works. People are not going to go ahead and make the decision of work with you or not work with you based on a contract or on a terms of service. It just won't happen. And if you're stalling on actually starting because you don't have this or you don't have that, let me just go ahead and expound upon what the real issue is that you're just afraid of starting and you're looking for a barrier to enter this. And if that's you, I totally understand it, okay? But you can't invent these roadblocks to your future success because they're always going to be there if you keep erecting them. You see how that works, friend? So don't think this is a big deal. Just to be honest, nobody ever looks at them anyways. It's nice to have. Some people might ask for it, but just to be honest, after doing this for 10 years, I've been asked for my terms of service once. I've been asked for my contract once. Other than that, nobody really cares. Neither should you. This one's a doozy. And this is probably one of the biggest fears. It's one of the biggest causes of anxiety. It's one of the biggest, ugliest boogeymen that you're ever going to worry about. And let me ask you this. Are you afraid of chargebacks? Are you afraid that you're going to invest all of your time and you're going to invest all of your efforts and you're going to do all that great work? You deliver to that client and then boom, you're going to get a PayPal notification. Hey, chargeback. Nope, you got to give back all that money. We're going to take it right back out of your account. And if you're afraid of PayPal, I got you on that. We're going to talk about that soon too. And chargebacks tend to be one of the biggest issues that I see people really unnecessarily and illogically mad about. And to put myself up for your evaluation on this, I've been in this space of art freelancing for over 11 years at this point. I have gotten a chargeback 0 times because of the strategies that I use and I implement that I share all across this channel. And now if you're getting a chargeback, here's usually why. Your client sucks. And that sounds like, oh, well, it's just poor circumstance, or, oh, it's just not fair. Or you might have even seen some really slighted artists online that's like just giving up. Or I've seen people in my comments that are just like, I'll never do art commissions. I never want to get chargebacks. Oh, I can't ever do that. If that's you and that's the reason why you're avoiding this, like, you're just afraid, and that's okay. I get that. Or maybe art commissions just aren't for you, friend, and that's also okay. But the reason why that you actually get a chargeback is because you had a really poor evaluation process. Is that number one, you need to make sure that they're actually not a jerk. They don't actually suck. And if you're just somebody right now who's just putting up a pricing sheet, or even if you're using like a third-party website or using any type of like just straight payment and you don't even talk to your client, then that's setting you up for failure, friend, and this is why. From doing this, I can tell within a 5-minute conversation if this person is a jerk or if they're a scammer. It's very, very obvious, okay? And number two, make sure that you actually do the work. That's all you gotta do. If you do the work and you do the work to the spec that the client gives you, it's really just that simple and they're gonna be satisfied with you. And don't take it personally, and make sure that you're gonna put yourself into your artwork, but also at the same time that you fulfill the customer's request, because that's what it's all about. But if you're afraid of getting chargebacks, y'all, this does not happen that often. It's just been catastrophized into this big monumental event that really never happens. But if it does, it's usually your fault. Have you ever considered that? Now, following the adventures of Dante's Inferno and going up the rings of hell, we're now going to talk about PayPal. So what's your opinion about PayPal, y'all? Are you somebody who's wholly against it? Do you even think that PayPal is the devil? Have you been told, no, don't use PayPal? I've even seen videos like, no, don't use PayPal. This is a bad platform and it doesn't work and people lost all their money from it. Well, some people did, but also, whose fault was that? And there are other platforms out there. Maybe if you don't use PayPal, drop down below, what do you use? And please don't say artistry, because we're gonna get into that soon. But if you are somebody who is just wholly afraid of this, or if you've just been totally turned off by all the negative press about this, let me just put this to bed. Again, I've been doing this for over a decade. I've only ever used PayPal. I've had zero issues with PayPal. And here are some best practices if you are going to use PayPal, and if you're afraid of it, let me just try it and put you at ease, friend. First and foremost, if you're gonna use PayPal, don't treat it like your personal bank account. I think that one of the big reasons why people get flagged on PayPal is because you just leave money in there. And if you are going to use PayPal, here's my general practice. I have money coming in, I immediately transfer it out within 24 hours so that it's not just sitting there. I think it is a big red flag for PayPal to just see like a sum of money that is just boom, sitting there right there, where you don't have one of their other services where it basically functions like a credit card or a bank account. Number two, so people that are in the not safe for work space, just please hear me out on this one, all right? But it's literally in their terms of service that you can't do that. Now, that being said, I know what you're thinking here. Yes, people still do use it. You just gotta make sure that your clients don't ever put into the memo something lewd that alludes to the fact that you're doing it for not safe for work, dirty work, you know what I mean? But PayPal might not be the best thing, or you might want your clients to start to be a little bit more discreet so you don't get into trouble. And then finally, if you're concerned about how it's gonna go with you actually getting the clients on there, or if you're concerned about how you're actually gonna get payments and invoices, and that sounds really complicated, don't. You can just share your link. And that's what I've been doing for years, and it's so easy. So if you're afraid of PayPal, if you're afraid of starting a business, and I'm afraid that you might have just fallen victim to a little bit of fear mongering over this topic, because it's actually really robust. Now, let me warn you about a trap that I've seen so many artists fall into. And it's something that I've been combating here for years on this channel. And so this next anxiety typically deals around where you should get clients. And what I typically see is that people get lured into two categories. Number one is thinking that you just go ahead and you just put up a post on social media, and then all of a sudden you get flooded with clients. And the reason why is because I think every other major art influencer says basically something along this line, and they'll tell you, oh, just put up your pricing sheet. And then step two is you're just rich, and you're like, where did the middle go? Like, how does that happen and grow? Have you ever felt like this? Number two, though, strictly deals with this concern that I'm about to bring up, which is how to use major art commission platforms. Have you ever heard of Fiverr, Upwork, Artisan Clients, or even Artistry? Because all of these, they set themselves up with the premise that if you go here, we have a pool of clients, we have a pool of buyers, and we have artists, and we serve the artists to those clients. And you might naturally think to yourself, wow, that's great. I don't have to go looking for these people. I don't have to put up some posts on social media that no one's gonna respond to except for my mom and my uncle. But guess what? This is a lie. And I see people that really get lured into this because they've had a bad experience and they haven't had success on any other version of this one because they didn't follow any advice that actually worked out for them. And then they get lured into like Artistry, for example. And what this typically evolves into, though, is honestly like an awkward middle school dance. And in that sense, you have a whole bunch of artists over here and a few clients over here, and nobody's really mingling that much at all. And so the big reason I just want to let you know is that if you're anxious about trying other means and trying other methods, outside of these platforms, then I want to let you know that you are just strictly being taken advantage of. But the only reason that sites like Artistry exists and other ones are strictly to take advantage of people that are in non-economic superpower countries. If you want me to make a whole video about this, please let me know about it because I'm totally interested in it. I hear all the time from people that live in South America, from people that live in Eastern Asia too, who don't have access to PayPal because of the fact that their country doesn't allow it, or there's just massive amount of taxes that get ripped right out of it, as opposed to people that are in Europe or the US and North America. So if you're on these platforms though, just want to let you know is that they're really just being a predator for you, and they're just trying to not introduce you to clients, not increase your business, not help you grow a business, but they're just trying to make a buck off of you. And for those of you that are in those economically disadvantaged countries, that's what's setting you up for, and also abysmal pricing that's wholly disrespectful for you, and you don't deserve that. So if you've been afraid of using other methods, let this be your wake-up call, friend. It's not a good place. None of them are good. They all suck, okay? The only good place for you to go are places that actually work and where clients are actually willing and able to buy and actually have cash in their pockets that's above the price of McDonald's value meals. Have you ever fallen victim to this one? Let me know about it. Now let's hop on down this rabbit hole called pricing. And when you're just starting out, I see so many artists that are so nervous about how to do this. What's the best practice? Oh, I have to do this or I have to do that. And what this typically wraps itself into is the idea that you have to start ridiculously cheap. Now, I can very confidently tell you that there is no scenario that exists where you have to start in with ridiculously, disrespectfully low pricing. And now I'm saying this myself as somebody who started out over a decade ago, starting at $35. I can tell you from experience, it sucks to do it. You're constantly wagering and balancing, oh, how much time do I put into this versus how much am I getting paid versus what else could I do? And I could go get a job and do this instead and get paid more money. And that is a lousy mindset, and that is setting you up for absolute misery and failure, friend. I don't want you to experience this. So if you are somebody who's in this mindset of I have to start cheap, I have to do it, I have to do this, you absolutely don't. As an example, I've helped people start out strong, come swinging right out of the gate for a few $100s, and you can do that too. Now, however, though, it's also rather delusional for you to just come out and not have artwork that's up to par, or like offer sketches or something like that, like we'll talk about in a second, and expect to get $500 for it. Like, that's usually not going to happen again unless you have a massive following. And in which case, you don't need to care about what anybody does because you got a massive following anyways. They play by their own rules. But no, you do not have to start cheap. You don't have to have this anxious thought process of like, oh my God, I'm never gonna get what I want. It's gonna take me years to build what I want. And just be honest, yeah, it will take you time to build what you want. But how much of a climb you have to make, that's up to you. You're the one that's gonna set that. And there are things that you can do, like the stuff that I teach on this channel, on how to actually grow your pricing. And you can follow some of these strategies because it's from these strategies that I've grown myself from $35 commissions all the way up to $1,500 commissions. That's why I put out content like this to help artists like you do the same exact thing and hopefully do it a lot faster than it took me. Because there were never any channels like this telling honest advice like this back when I first started out. And hey, if you're an artist out here who's been doing this for a while, please, down below, encourage the people, y'all. Let people know how you've been able to grow and scale your pricing, because I think that's what more artists need to know and need to hear about, instead of this doom and gloom crap that you see people complain about all the time on Discord servers and on subreddits. You know what I'm talking about? But if you've fallen victim to this mode of thought, don't, because it's not the truth. It's just the excuse that some people give because they want validation and not money. This one really drives me nuts, and I see this all the time. And let me tell you, if there were an art commission starter kit for absolute noobs, this would 100% be in it. Have you ever seen people that just have this huge avalanche of different examples? They'll be like, I can do a loose sketch, and I can do lines, and I can do a black and white, and I can do a little bit of a render, and I can do a cell shaded, and I can do a fully rendered, and then I can do photorealistic. And y'all, this is such a bad practice, okay? And if you're nervous about what you actually have to put out when you're first starting, it's really very simple. What this really envelops itself into is, just to be honest, is that you're gonna start to attract the wrong clients that you don't want, that aren't gonna serve your needs, that aren't gonna help you grow your future, okay? And so one of the things I realized early on was that I had to dump everything that would not propel me forward and would not help me get the next client. So in other words, what I'm gonna advise you on right now, if you're offering sketches, get rid of them right now. If you're offering less than the full rendered quality of what you're actually capable of, dump it right now. It's a bad practice. And it's a bad expectation to put that out there. Because let me just ask you this. Would you want a half-cooked dinner? Would you want a half-built car? Would you want a partially built home? Because why the heck do you think that anybody would want to buy your sketch? Or if people do buy your sketches, why are they buying them? Why are they able to only pay 20 bucks for that? I'm gonna tell you why. It's because they're gonna go ahead and slap it into an AI generator nowadays, and it's gonna complete it for them so that they don't have to pay you to do it. And in that case, you've now cheated yourself twice. Does that make you proud? Because this is some of the stuff that I've had to wrestle with as I was growing and as I've been advising people for years on how to do this now. And the basic logic that I want you to have going forward to actually have a lot of good sustainable momentum is this. Go ahead, dump anything that is a non-portfolio piece. In other words, for many years now, my sole mindset has been, is this artwork going to contribute to me getting the next client? And not just any next client, the next tier client. Like if you're only able to get 50 bucks right now, does this artwork help you get the $100 client? Does that $100 client help you get the $200 client? Does that $200 client help you get the $300 and the $300 get the $500 and so on and so forth? See how that works? You always want forward momentum. You always want ascension. And if you're like, well, Sean, it doesn't take me long to do a sketch. I can do it in an hour. Great, do your own in an hour. And then, actually finish it in your own time. If you combine, you lump all those times together, then it would amount to you actually having portfolio pieces. Now, again, that could be different if you're like a comic artist or a manga artist. Like I totally understand that. But for those of us that want to do characters or environments or props or concept art, this is worthless. It's not worth your time. Go for the bigger fish. Stop trying to eat minnows and shoot for great whites. Because I promise you, you'll eat a lot better and a lot longer off of that. Now, let me tell you a huge anxiety that you're gonna have and a really unrealistic expectation that I find so many artists have is about what you actually do and you don't do when it comes to art commissions, when you're starting freelancing, when you're actually gonna get your clients, and your general sustainability from it too. Because I'll be honest with you, there's so much bad advice out there and there's so much false realities that people have and preconceived notions that are wholly untrue. And nobody really talks about it, which is why I made this entire video about the truths about art commissions that no one else will tell you. So go ahead and check that out. And if this helped you, please share it with somebody that you know. Thanks so much and see you next time.